Like he's still not walking.
All right, good evening. I've got 7:02. I'm going to go ahead and call the May 8th, 2025 Shelby County Board meeting to order. Can I have pledge of allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Just thank you for everybody that could be here tonight. Just ask that you guide and lead us through this meeting, help us to make decisions that are favorable for the county. In your son's name, amen.
Amen. Roll call, please.
Teresa Bain. Present. Tim Brown.
Here.
Carol Cole. Here. Julie Edwards. Chrissy Grant. Jeff Gregg.
Here.
Clay Hardy.
Here.
Keith McCormick. Chrissy Matlock. Here. Tad Mayhall.
Here.
Tricia Miller. Here. James Mitchell.
Here.
Tim Morse.
Here.
Gene Price. Austin Pritchard.
Here.
Sonny Ross. Larry Seifert.
Here.
Don Tate.
Here.
Christy Wofford. Here. Brett Wallace.
Here.
G. Wood. Here. Chad Yanis.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Move on to item 3. Discussion vote to approve the minutes from April 10th of 2025. I have a motion on that. I have Mr. Anderson in the back. I have Ms. Miller in the back. Your second. Any discussion, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to item 4, public body comment. Public body comment. Public body comment. Okay. Moving on to item 5, Mr. Brown, review and discuss the draft dive team audit.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For anyone who's not read through the audit, the auditor made a number of recommendations. I would like to recommend that we follow that we enact some of these recommendations. And I think an excellent place to start would be for the dive team bookkeeper. I don't know if that's the dive team commander or if the dive team has a bookkeeper, I don't know, but I would like to recommend that the person responsible for the accounting for the dive team meet and work with the Shelby County Treasurer. I would like to clarify that the services of the Shelby County Treasurer come at no charge to the dive team. That's what the treasurer's job is. I'm not here to shame the dive team accounting. I'm not here to even say anything negative about it. I'll admit I'm not a good bookkeeper myself, but the dive team is a part of Shelby County. I believe that the dive team and Shelby County are somewhat vulnerable with this audit, and I think that moving forward, again, I've said it, the dive team should enlist the help, the services of the Shelby County Treasurer to try to drastically improve their accounting and their bookkeeping. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're up again on item 6. Mr. Brown?
Again, if for those who did not read the audit, the roster that is provided in the audit was actually obtained from a Freedom of Information request several years ago. I don't know how long ago, it's worded several years ago. It's also explained in the audit that a roster was requested but not provided. So as a sitting board member, I would like to request a roster of who is on the dive team. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Item 7, discussion and vote to approve the bid for construction of the Shelby County EJ Water Phase 76 Delbert Month Water Treatment Plant Expansion RIPI Grant Project. Have a motion on this, please. Mr. Pritchard on that motion, Ms. Matlock on the second. So I did receive yesterday the bid. There was only one bid that was submitted. It was opened yesterday in their fashion, so it was opened up. It was a sealed bid process. Only one bid received and accepted. For clarification, this project, this money's been sitting with the county now for a couple of years. This water treatment facility is going in just north of Beecher City to expand EJ Water services to different parts of the county. The reason the county is involved is we're simply the pass-through for the money. So these entities can't request a grant, request the money, so we were the pass-through for this. The bid letting took place, it was submitted out, I think 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, and bids were opened yesterday. So the bid was awarded to CB&I Storage Tank Solutions out of Plainfield, Illinois. We've had $2 million here in the county for this project. The total project is $2,094,000. So with that, I'll answer any questions to the best of my ability. Yes, sir.
You say we have $2 million from the grant and the bid was a little over that?
It is.
So where does the money over the bid come from?
2.2 million.
Okay, so we had 2.2 million. So.
Oh, okay.
And I met with these gentlemen, they said if there's any expenses to the county at all, whether it be time services or whatever, they were reimbursed through this project. Yes, sir.
And what's the benefit to the county if we're just a money handler, or is that what you said?
The benefit is expanding rural water to Shelby County.
Okay,
Yes.
I got you.
But as explained to me, they couldn't take the money directly. So we were the bid. We were the holder of the funds.
Okay.
After the grant was awarded, and then they were through the process of putting out bids. Yes, ma'am.
Is it actually expanding new services, or is it, how do I put it, is it the same geographic area, adding more tendrils to the arms, do you know, or is it actually going out farther into the county? Because I know some people talked about there wasn't, it only goes to my neighbors a mile and a half down the road. I just wasn't sure
Yeah,
if
so
anybody
it's
about
both.
that.
It's expanding service as well as reach. So
Okay.
additional capacity
Yeah.
for treatment as well as additional reach within the county.
Fantastic.
Yes, sir.
I'm just wondering, does this include if they do this expansion, if a person's in their path, like they'll bring water by their house, do they have the option to opt out?
Yes, so you don't have to tie in.
Okay.
So I can put it specifically in my neighborhood. I know the line runs my entire area, but you don't have to tie in.
Okay.
But the option exists later if you do want to tie in. Yes, sir.
I'd suggest if it goes through, to go ahead and at least hook up, because I'm right at this moment, I'm going through the same thing. The water line literally runs through my yard, but the guys that lived there before me didn't hook up, didn't pay for nothing. for me, and now this is Fayette Water, but just for them to come and set the meter, $2,750, just to set the meter.
Usually the tap fee, if you don't do it initially, it gets more expensive down the road.
Yeah.
In my experience, when they were putting them in, they were there present, just making sure that we knew the service was coming through and what the cost would be now versus waiting down the road, so you're right. Any other questions, comments on this? We're not really spending the money, right?
Not initially.
We'll do roll call vote, and make this motion, right? Okay, all right, roll call vote, please.
Teresa Bain,
Yes.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Carol Cole,
Yes.
Jeff Gray,
Yes.
Clay Hardy,
Yes.
Christine Matlock,
Yes.
Tad Mayhall,
Yes.
Tricia Miller,
Yes.
James Mitchell,
Yes.
Tim Morse,
Yes.
Austin Pritchard,
Yes.
Larry Seifert,
Yeah.
Don Tate,
Yes.
Christy Wofford,
Yes.
Brent Wallace,
Yes.
Judy Wood,
Yes.
Chad Yanis.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you for that. Move on to item 8, discussion and vote to approve the hiring for the P-COM position for rural transportation as recommended by myself. Can I have a motion on this, please, Ms. Matlock and Ms. Miller? So we've discussed this a few times since the first part of the year. The P-COM position has been in the county for years, but hasn't been actively worked since 2022. And so Ms. Bain and I met with CEFS in January, and we began work at that time. In February, we posted the job, but we haven't had a lot of takers. And so IDOT got back with me, recommended changing the pay structure, et cetera. And so with that, and people, asking friends and neighbors to apply, I received 2 resumes. Nobody was really beating down the door for this, but I did get 2 resumes. And after speaking with both candidates and reviewing the resumes, my recommendation this evening is Crystal Watkins. She is from Little Findlay. She has a very impressive background as far as education. Specifically, is working with federal and state grants and maintaining compliance for Lakeland, accurate compliant records to date information for college and student process. And so with this program being compliance and oversight management for rural transportation, her credentials certainly matched up really well with this. Both candidates were great on this, but due to location and experience, my recommendation is Ms. Watkins. So I'll answer any questions that you might have, again, to the best of my ability. But this program is, again, as a result of audit findings from last year, this program is another program that's in high neglect that needs to be quickly brought back up to speed so we can get this taken care of. Yes,
So
sir.
the money's been budgeted for this position.
It is, so all of the, it's a good question, just to clarify, I know we've gone over a few times, but it doesn't hurt to clarify this. So all of the pay, so the person will be employed by the county. They'll fall under public safety. But then all of the pay and benefits come from grant money.
Okay.
So again, with CFS and rural transit, we're a pass-through for that money. This is no different. So the county will actually be paying for this individual. It will be from the grant fund set aside. Last year, but I think even this year, the budgeted money is $1.7 million that they have for that, and I think there was $700,000 not spent last year. So getting the program back up to speed is certainly a priority, so we're compliant with IDOT because we're not. But then also finding additional opportunities to either expand transportation opportunities within the county, but also what other facets in the county have we missed out on opportunities for that money to be deployed within the county. So it'll certainly be a busy summer for this individual, but she was very excited at the opportunity to, as she expressed to me, take on a challenge and get us caught up. So, yes, ma'am.
Does CEFS apply for this grant? Is that who applies
They have up to this point, but eventually all of this will be the responsibility of
Of
the
PCOM.
PCOM. Yes, so again, CFS and I, since the first of the year, been working in tandems to make sure that we've been compliant with the request, filled out all the compliance data. You know, I filled out all the forms, a month or two ago, with the help of IDOT, just to make sure that we were still current with that. But yes, all of that will be on the responsibility of the PCOM.
To keep the grant coming.
That's correct. And then additional, you can try to find additional resources down the road. So. Yes, sir.
Is this a full-time position, I guess?
To start off with, I would estimate, just based on my conversation with CEFS as well as IDOT, out of the gate, it's going to be almost full-time. It wouldn't be surprising. The initial is 35 hours a week, give or take, 30 to 35. To get caught up, it's probably going to be every bit of 40.
Okay, is it outlined to ask, what the salary would be for a job like this?
So we have not agreed on the salary at this point, so we have a range of 29 to 35 or something like that. And so once we come to the formal agreement, then I will work with Ms. Watkins on that. But it was significantly enhanced over the $1,000 a month that was initially being offered. It was not much.
No.
So, but it was also, we were initially told that it might be 20 to 30 hours a month. And then it was estimated to be 30 to 35 a week. So that's where IDOT came back in with the recommendations on the salary range change, as well as changing what that structure would look like. I mean, it certainly made the job much more appealing for somebody to take it on. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Seeing none with that, as it relates to hiring Crystal Watkins as our PCOM, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Thank you for that. It's been a long road for this one, so I do really appreciate the cooperation and helping us get here. All right, move on to item 9. Discussion and vote to approve the transfer of $35,000 in LATCF funds to the county Social Security Fund. A motion on this. Was a second from Mr. Yantis. All right, so the Social Security Fund within the county has an apparent shortfall. And so to make sure that we're meeting our obligations to get us until we get to our tax distribution in July, the first patchwork piece of this will be to put $35,000 from this grant fund that we got 2 years ago over to the Social Security Fund so we can get our obligations through June. We will watch this over the next few weeks closely with the clerk and treasurer, and we may do this again in June. Figure out if we have to continue to use LTCF or if we can use other funding. But I know this isn't the appetite of some folks, but we have to patch this and meet our obligations for Social Security. So, any questions on this? Yes, ma'am.
How did this happen? Why did this happen?
I'm going to do my best to answer it, and if I'm wrong, I would ask that somebody correct me if I'm wrong, because I've been known to be wrong on several things. But at the end of the day, it goes back to the budgeting process last year. For those that were here, the budgeting process certainly was not fluid by any means. And it takes cooperations, from all the entities within the county to help us make sure that we have the right forecasting. And when it comes to this, I don't think we have the right data to set the levy properly and to allocate the right amount of money to Social Security. So, again, without good predictive analysis, and trends on what payroll looks like, et cetera, I think we did the best we could at the time. Yes.
Did the ARPA money being used for wages have anything to do with this? That the ARPA money could have been used to pay these? I'm asking, could have been pulled out a different bucket rather than have this happen when we had the ARPA money available?
I'm not sure I have an exact answer on that, because I'd have to go back through the long list of items that can be reimbursed. So I don't want to speculate and say yes and find out that the answer was no.
Okay.
But there were things we certainly could have reimbursed certain funds for had we known there was going to be a shortfall several months ago.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm hesitant to use LATCF. What other options do we have out there? Don't we have an unbudgeted 029 fund that we could use to offset these expenses?
We've discussed this, and we will certainly explore that when it comes to next month on what other resources we can use besides this grant money to do this. The initial thought was to use the entire grant for this, and to patch us to next month is probably the best option. So we're not using all $95,000 of that money for something we could possibly use it for later on. So it will be closely watched, and we will in the next 30 days explore, ask questions. I encourage you guys to do the same thing, right? Ask the treasurer, ask where else can we pull this? And maybe it is the items not separately budgeted, part of our budget for that. So I don't have all the answers, and some of this is, it just kind of crept out. Yes, sir.
How many more times are we gonna have to pull?
Good question. So the tax distribution should take place in July. And so we shouldn't have to deal with this too many times. And so that's why I'm trying to make sure that we're setting aside enough now to get us through the next 3 payroll periods before we meet next and make an assessment at that time. That's a good question. And it's something that we've talked about quite a bit over the last few weeks. I'll try to figure out where we can best do this from. But I would encourage, ask some questions. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Jessica may have to answer this. So the 007 is Social Security, that's a savings account. Is that something different than?
You know, that's probably where the money goes when it's collected. It probably goes to that account. So,
but that's not where you draw the money out.
I mean, I can't really answer because I don't deal with the bank accounts.
Okay.
So,
Because this shows $111,000 in that account, the end of March. And I'm wondering why, and it's growing 1%. If it's just sitting there, not being used, it seems like Illinois funds, which we can't get anybody to invest in Illinois funds, but Illinois funds right now is 4.4% every day. It's not every month, it's not a CD, it's every day. It seems like we have a lot of funds in our account. In the general fund, we have $1,556,000 as of the end of March. In the general money market checking, earning 1.2%. I don't know if that's something that can be moved, not all of it, but part of it, that if the county would invest in Illinois funds, we wouldn't have these shortfalls. We would be getting 4% every day on any funds we have. It's not a CD where you have to leave it in there for 9 months or 12 months or whatever. And maybe I'm way off guard, or way off point here. If we invest our money wisely, I don't think we'd have these shortfalls.
I'm just going to piggyback on what Carol just said. I sent an email to Miss Sloan, the gal that came, I think it was in January, that night it was real cold, and from the Illinois Fund, and she, explained to us how it worked. And I asked her how quickly it takes to be able to do the investing, and she said it's about 2 days to get things ready, and then it can happen. And my thoughts are this: if this was my money, I would want to make 4.4%, not 0.12 or not 1. So I would want to diligently, quickly find a way to get that information to them to get an account started. Now, if it's a concern about, this is new and I'm unsure how this will work for us, I think that this would be the perfect time with this situation, with this Social Security shortfall, that would be a really good first shot. Let's put some money in it. Let's put $1 million in it. See what happens. We're going to earn some interest on it. We're going to earn 4.4. We're not earning anything on some of it, not much anyway. So what would hurt? Let that be our guinea pig. Let's start it there. As much as interest as we can get between now and July, we're gonna use that for this shortfall. And then we're gonna see, does this work for what we need? Is this something that we can make work on a bigger scale? Because that does defray raises, expenses, all sorts of expenses we have as a county. I think that would be worth it to give it a shot now. And just a discussion that we all got an email, and it looked like June the 6th, we were gonna be short about $2,000 for the current payroll. This is from Ms. Fernhaber. And it's about 16,000, I believe is the number she used, for each payroll. So that gives you an idea. So based on when the distribution happens in July, you know, depends on when that happens, when we will really need it, the exact dollar amount. But it will increase a little bit because we do have some contracts that we just settled with some back pay issues we have to deal with. So it can still be a little more, but that gives people kind of an idea of the dollar amounts.
Yes, sir.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Carol, but that's a fluid account, right? You can get into that at any point in time.
Yes, yes, and they don't charge you.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why that's not
And
being done.
there's no risk in it, I mean.
No risk. They've been doing this for 50 years.
Well, how come we've been already doing it?
That's a good
That's a
question.
good question.
Were you here, should ask if he was here, when
Yeah,
Ms. Sloan was.
January, February, I think it was February's meeting, the Illinois Fund came and talked to us, were you, I'm not sure if you were here or not. I think that was where you had some
Yeah.
transportation issues with your vehicles or something like that, so I'm not sure you were here.
It was-
I know you, I think you had a work-related issue.
I don't think, I started to say, this is the first I heard about this.
Yeah, so they came and presented to us.
Is this to anybody, or is it just for counties? Just counties? Started to say, hey, I want to invest in that.
Counties, states, different organizations. Schools.
Schools can do it too?
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
through
schools,
the-
municipalities, counties, so government entities within the state of Illinois.
And it's every day, 4.4 every day.
Well, it's the annual,
but it's, yeah.
it's essentially it's the annual rate. The rate can fluctuate a little bit depending
Oh,
on
I
rate
get that,
situation.
but
So it's a money market is what it is. That's fluid, you can take the money out there.
yeah, but money market's only, what, 1.9 or something like that? I don't know.
And you can go on their website, Brent, and it'll show the calendar for the month, and you can go back and look at historic data for each month, and it'll tell you what the date rate was that day. I think the last time I looked, it was 4.412. Yeah, yeah.
It makes no sense.
So it's through the Illinois State Treasurer's Office.
Well, if you put $1 million in there, I mean, in 3 months, you're gonna have,
A lot more money than $1 million.
I ain't that good at math, that's quite a bit of
A lot
money.
more money than $1 million. It's
And
worth a
then you're
shot.
looking at I mean, from now until June, or what was that date that you said that, I mean, you could, anyway, that's just common sense.
Yes, sir.
So, piggybacking off, plausibly for me, I would say, we've got $20 million in the bank, give or take, just back of the envelope math. If someone invested half of that, which to me seems logical, and that $10 million earns 3% more than what it's earning today, which is pretty close. I mean, that's $300,000 a year for hitting a couple of buttons, filling out a couple of forms and hitting a couple of buttons. And to me, we're leaving $300,000 plus year over year after year after year on the table, and we're sitting here worrying about a few $1,000s for Social Security or whatever it may be. I mean, 300 grand is a lot of money in my world, and we're leaving it set. This county, Shelby County, and there are counties across this state who are utilizing this all over the place and are earning north of 4%. Shelby County's sitting on $20 million earning peanuts. And to me, it's just, like somebody said, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, but
I mean,
definitely.
it's a no-brainer, so.
Yes, ma'am.
Question. If we don't approve doing this, what happens? Bottom line.
Bottom line, we're short to the feds, paying our social security obligations, the employer for our social security.
Which
It's a
date, though?
fine.
What date are we talking? Is it the June 6th date is the first one that comes up?
I don't have the exact date, I just know that we're not gonna make it to our next meeting. We would be short before our next board meeting.
But we could have a special meeting if we had to.
We don't need to, yeah.
We could, but it's an obligation that's not going away.
Correct.
It's not going away, yes, sir.
Have we put something in place to make sure this doesn't happen again? Have we got somebody that we're going to have come help us do budget?
Yes, so part of the contract with Signage was to help us with budget services this year, and again, Jessica's done a great job of getting stuff out to department heads already for pre-planning for budget, so that's already in the works as well, is making sure that we're ahead of the budget curve versus where we got to. So,
I may be out base here, but don't you think it would have been nice for the treasurer to have been here through this conversation?
cooperation is helpful when it gets to making sure that we have the right data to plan. And that would have been the case certainly last year when we were trying to pass the budget. Yes, ma'am.
One more thing. If we don't approve this, will this put the people who inherited the payroll for our employees more stress on that office that they've already been dumped on already? I don't want to cause them any heartache or grief. I don't like having to do it this way, but I appreciate how they've stepped up and tried to get everything done. And I don't want to cause them any more problems.
You know, I'll defer, if you don't have an answer, that's fine. Are you guys responsible for?
Well, I mean, yeah, when they go to take the money out of the bank account and it doesn't have any in it, I mean, this isn't something that we can just say, oh, we're not going to pay that. I mean, we have to meet our social security obligations.
So, go ahead.
Well, like you said, this is just a Band-Aid right now. This is to get us,
essentially, it's a 35.
this is to get us to, and I wasn't for it to begin with, but this is to get us to the taxes,
This is to get us to June.
to June.
And
And then- and then
we're going to have to revisit this, but again, that's what I'm asking is some engagement, right? Start asking questions on, what other accounts can we possibly use this from, right? Again, this isn't ideal, right? This isn't my first choice, but I don't have the answers on what the other choices might be. And we have to explore what that could be. And maybe we don't have any choices, I don't know. But it's going to require asking some more questions. So, yes, sir.
We're a $35,000 shortfall now in 6 months on this budget, is basically what we're saying right now. So when this disbursement comes out in July from the taxes, was the levy high enough to cover this additional pay raises and all that we're talking about this year with all the other back pay we've had for FOP, for AFSCME? Do we have enough? Is there enough in the new levy to cover this? Or are we going to be back here to use the rest of this by the end of the year?
I wish I had an answer besides I don't know. I really don't. And again, that's where we need better information, right? The information flow, it's not easy to get, right? Accurate information is not easy to get a hold of. And so we continue to work on that. But that's where here we are in May, and as we start to look at the budget for 26, is making sure that we are as ready and understood on this process as possible. That includes the levy. By the time that we get to the levy part of the budget, we truly weren't sure right at that point, and having some assistance in that would be helpful, because you were essentially dealing with a bunch of rookies who didn't know all the answers to this, and I think we took the best shot at it that we could, but it turns out that our shot fell short.
So do we need to make a motion to amend what's on there to, this is my suggestion, you can reword or tell me now. Should we make a motion to amend it to allow LATCF funds to cover the shortfalls between now and the June meeting? It looks to me like the June meeting is on the 12th. The 6th is, I believe, a pay week. So if we address it on the 12th, we could then again do the same thing if we have to get us through to July. But that would give us a month to maybe talk to Sickich, ask their thoughts, find out about these other accounts, find out the balances that Carol was asking about, and also ask the treasurer to be present at that meeting on the 12th to go through the information with us so we can make a better educated decision. Because I think we all kind of agree we'd like to not touch the grant funds if we don't have to. That's intended to help everybody, and I don't want Jessica to be upset by it either, so she has to speak up. If it's an easy thing, if we go to June, and then June we address it again and say, hey, we got a better plan, great. If we go to June and this is all we got, is it okay to do that? And to decide on the 12th, yes, we can go ahead and use LATCF and it happens. You see what I mean?
Yeah, so I think you answered the question within the question, is that this 35,000 does get us to the June meeting. This will cover that period of time. It buys us time to ask the questions and do some more research, figure out what it's going to take to get us to that point. So this is the patch to get us through June, or to June. And then if we have to make another decision, we now have 30 some odd days to start asking questions and figuring out what else we can do to get us to July. Yes, sir.
Back to this investment, I mean, in 3 months' time, on $10 million, you're going to have the $35,000. How do we move this money? Who's in charge of this investment? And why is it, the investment in Illinois funds, how can we move the money to that?
That's the treasurer's responsibility.
So how do we have her come to a meeting and explain why it's not being done? I mean, it's obviously costing us here. I mean, how do we get her here? I guess is my question. Whoever is responsible.
Yeah, and she has the sole discretion on how money is invested. The board does not have any, that's her, investment is her alley, or what she does. The board has not, that I remember in the few years I've been coming, ever voted on anything that did deal with investing money. Now, I don't know, even if that's a possibility, a legal possibility, maybe we need to ask legal counsel. If some money, not all money, but some money needs to be invested, if the board is even able to vote to direct money to be invested. Because if it's not, I mean, nobody's saying we want to pull money out of our local banks, all of our money. No one is saying that. But if you have a small amount of money, 3 million, 2 million, compared to all the money that's sitting in the banks, that's not a small amount of money, but it's a small amount compared to the 20 million we have sitting there. Do we need a legal opinion? Do we have any ability whatsoever to direct money to be invested?
So kind of back to what I think I've said a couple times, which is this is where the engagement, there's 22 of us, and this is where the engagement and asking questions is going to be very important. And again, to Mr. Gantz's point, is the question is, after July, how far are we going to get on this, right? I mean, that's also a very valid point, because if we're talking about this again in October, to bridge us through a couple of months, right, we fell short there too. So it's all very valid questions, and I think these questions, again, with 22 of us, we all have to be a little bit more engaged on these topics and start asking questions.
Because I understand wanting to, for the local banks and how that helps our county. I totally understand that. But if we have $2 or $3 million that we could invest and make that kind of interest, and when you're talking about raises and you're talking about shortfalls, then I think it's worth the discussion. So I hope that we can find out. I'll be asking some questions.
Yeah, no, we've announced that we approved the FOP contract, which went back in, a bunch of back pay from the previous contract that expired in September, and we're getting close on AFSCME right, which is also gonna have back pay all the way back to September on this year's budget unnecessarily, right? I mean, with those things crossing over into this fiscal year, we can't throw the back pay from September to December on the fiscal year 24 budget, right? We're eating budgetary items in this budget that didn't need to be done that way. And Social Security is gonna have to be back paid on all of that as well.
Right.
So, it probably is gonna be a significant amount of money that we're gonna have for previous obligations that have yet to be met because we haven't satisfied the contract yet, so.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, is this 35 grand, is this for 3 months past, or is this for every month? I don't.
So the $35,000 buys us enough time to get to our June meeting, where we are putting every payroll, right, so every 2 weeks, we are spending 14,000, give or take, 15,000.
I think it's like 16.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks, it's 16.
So this buys us 2 payrolls plus the money that's already there, so it gets us to that meeting.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
My memory's not, didn't we approve an investment policy for the treasurer?
We did, I believe. Yes.
Because I thought there was one out there.
There is.
But I didn't know whether that might be something that we need to be revisited.
Yeah, I mean, it could be for sure.
I believe the investment policy, now that he says that we would be trying to invest in the highest rate, that we would be looking around for the highest rate. So I do think it's important.
With there's a value caveat to that, safety in mind, right? It is highest rate of safety being the utmost.
What's that?
Safety, right? Safety and principle, right? Protecting the asset for sure. Is one of those, but as you say, you know, what I don't as well.
So it'd be good to take a really good look at that, the investment policy.
Yes, ma'am.
You need a motion.
We've got it. We've got the motion in a second on this.
Let's do a roll call vote.
Anybody else anything? Okay, roll on.
Teresa Bay,
Yes.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Carol Cole,
Yes.
Jeff Gray,
Yes.
Clay Hardy,
Yes.
Christine Matlock,
No.
Tad Mahal,
Yes.
Tricia Miller,
Yes.
James Mitchell,
Yes.
Tim Morse,
Yes.
Austin Pritchard,
Yes.
Larry Seifert,
Yes.
Don Tate,
Yes.
Christy Wofford,
Yes.
Brett Wallace,
Yes.
Judy Wood,
Yes.
Chad Yanis.
Yes.
Motion passes 16 ayes, 1 nay, Matlock.
Okay, thank you. Move on to item 10, discussion and vote to approve the resolution authorizing a 15-month audit for fiscal year ending November 30th of 2023. Have a motion on this, please. Ms. Cole, have a second. Ms. Bain. I have the resolution in front of me. Signage as well as Lauterbach and Eamon, who are taking care of our pre-audit and audit services this year, worked with the comptroller's office as well as our grantors to come up with language that would suffice extending fiscal year 23, which was done, by 3 months. So rather than completing 2 separate audits, one for 12 and one for 3 months, the state has allowed us to do a 15-month audit, which saves us quite a bit of time in getting caught up and getting compliant with this. And so we worked with Lauterbach and Eamon and the clerk, and this resolution was typed up, and it was, again, signed off on by the comptroller. We would accept this language. So I will read it. Whereas the Shelby County Board at the regular meeting on February 9th, 2023 approved resolution 2023-18, which approved the shift of the county fiscal year from September 1st to August 31st to run from December 1st to November 30th. Whereas the county in 2023 had a 12-month fiscal year from September 1, 2022 through August 31, 2023, and another 3-month budget running from September 1st, 2023 to November 30th of 2023 in order to allow for a December 1 start to the fiscal year in 2023. Whereas for auditing purposes for the 2023 fiscal year, the county would benefit from doing a 15-month audit rather than a 12-month and a 3-month audit for fiscal year 23. Now therefore be it resolved that the Shelby County Board approves a 15-month audit for fiscal year 2023, for the 2023 fiscal year of September 1 to 22 to November 30th of 2023. Approve this 8th day of May 2025. So, like I say, in short, doing one audit instead of two will get us started much quicker. So, any questions about this? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Thank you. Move on to item 11, discussion vote surplus for disposal. 2015 Inmar inflatable boat, model number 290-TS, whole ID IMG 2T Alpha 16 Echo 415, due to unrepairable leak. Have a motion on this item, please. Motion, Ms. Miller, second. Mr. Mitchell, any discussion on this? It's a dive team asset that's no longer serviceable. Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item 12, discussion about surplus of 2016 Ford Police Interceptor utility vehicle. It's got 181,222 miles. VIN number is 1FM5K8ARXGTGA37324. Have a motion on the side, please. Mr. Pritchard in the back. Mr. Morris, any discussion, questions? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 13, committee reports. Anything from committees? No. Moving on to item 14. The sheriff received an email that he forwarded to me. There was an air quality test done inside the courthouse. The test did come back negative for mold and other issues, so I didn't want to pass that on, but that was taken care of. There is, for a couple of damp spots, a remediation plan put in place, and as they continue to do the repairs here, they will continue to keep us updated on any changes to those qualities. Moving on to an email that I sent out last week. I did want to pass on the email that I did receive from the state regarding our placement on the stop pay list. The email reads as follows. I have called and spoken with Steve Malega, Erica Fernhaber, and Tad Mayhall regarding the fiscal year 23 GATA requirements. I was asked by Tad to contact Anna Cadmus from Sigich and left her a voicemail. I have called and spoken, and it just simply repeats itself. But you will be put on the stop payment May 12, 2025, if the requirements are not made by May 9, 2025. I have, as I said in the email, I asked the state to reconsider. I got some input from Mr. Blake and some others. Asked them to reconsider the stop payment list until July 15th. I've not heard anything back, and I left a voicemail for the gentleman who will be making that decision. I've not heard back from him yet either. So at this point, our audit's not going to be done tomorrow. And so effective Monday, anything that we get as far as payments for grants, which is a lot of our services, at this point, I've been notified that they will stop. So I will do my best to continue to engage the state on this, but and I'll make updates to you as soon as possible. But again, this was unnecessary, didn't need to take place by simply just having audits done on time. So I'll continue to engage with Sigich and Lauterbach, but we didn't have to get to this point, and it won't be long. We're going to be late on 2024 as well. So I know that they're working, the pre-audit work has begun. And this will help speed that process up to get 2023 done faster, but, I don't know. I'll entertain any questions that anybody might have on this, but we've talked about this topic in this meeting. It's very necessary that we got to this point. Yes, ma'am.
So if they put us on stop payment, which it looks like they're going to, and the audit gets done, then does it take a long time for us to get back on the payment schedule, or?
So my understanding is it's not immediate. Even if we, as soon as we meet the requirements, not immediate. My understanding is that they will begin payments from that point forward, but we will have to go back and request the time is, right? So we'll get it back, but we have to go back. So if this takes us another 2 or 3 months, or 2 or 3 months that we're gonna have to request to receive those back payments. So it's not a fast process, and my understanding is that in the past, that, you know, you take it, you can appeal to it, you take it to court, and it still takes maybe a year to get that money, so. Yes, ma'am.
And it was Sickich that submitted our 22 audit, correct?
Yes,
To the state.
yes.
It was not Benford and Brown that submitted it to the state?
The AFR, yes, specifically.
The AFR, it was
Annual
Sickich.
financial report, yes.
Okay. And originally, was it supposed to be Benford and Brown that did 23 audit, but they
It is changed.
terminated the contract?
Yes,
Okay. I was just trying to
yes.
remember the timeline on how that worked. Thank you.
Well, yes, ma'am.
So if we don't get the money from the state, will that put us in a shortfall and other things then?
Yes.
So we're in a pickle.
And our health department runs solely on grant money. We have other entities within this county that rely heavily on the grant money coming in,
So whatever happens in health department, they're going to close their doors? How do we fix that in the meantime?
I don't have all the answers to that at this point. I know that there's reserves, you know, I talked to CFS, there's reserves that are there, but forecasting what that's going to look like, I don't know. Yeah. Unfortunately, unnecessary.
We actually paid for a full audit, didn't we?
That's fine, yes.
That didn't get done. Yes.
Again, I'll continue to speak to, call the gentleman, right, and engage as much as I can. I tried to make the most compelling case that I could to them, and so at this point, it's pretty disheartening to be in this position. You know, especially knowing that some of our folks that most we need, right, that use health department services could be the ones that suffer first. So, with that, I do have some correspondence here. I'd like to take a look at it. I received communication from the Public Sector Financing Department, Government Capital. Looks like a flyer, maybe some advertisement, some updates. So that's available here, as well as some annual information here on agency services and other information from CEFS. So this is available for anybody who wants to take a look at that. Moving on to item 16, adjournment appointments. I've got Philly Fire, I've got Rob McLean for trustee for a 3-year term. I've got Signal Fire, George Nuxel for trustee for 3-year term. Cabin Fire, Brad Storm, trustee for 3-year term. Zoning Board of Appeals, Jeff Slifer. Public Safety Committee Chair, Jeff Gray. Public Safety Committee, James Mitchell to replace myself. Finance Committee, Judy Wood to replace Judy Edwards. Can I have a motion on that, please? Mr. Ward, second, Ms. Cole. Any discussion or questions on this? Yes, sir.
Why are we replacing Julie Edwards?
It was requested.
Who requested it?
The chair of the committee.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? I want to thank Mr. Gregg myself for stepping up to take that. I said early on that I was looking to hand that off, and I do appreciate you stepping up to that. And same thing with Mr. Mitchell for stepping into that community. So I appreciate that a lot. So, any other questions? questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm opposed.
Okay, motion passes. Moving on to item 17, old business. All right, moving on, item 18, approval of claims. Have a motion to approve claims, please. Ms. Bain, second. Ms. Miller. Ms. Bain, anything on this? Anything to change, add?
There's one folder for animal control that it has to do with the spade and neuter charges and stuff that we're going to work on trying to figure that one out. Otherwise, everything's okay.
I actually spoke with Angela today, and that was going to be fine. It's just kind of complicated because the vet submits a bill that's got, 15 lines for each animal. So we had a discussion about, I told her that, she explained, we made the numbers come out, the numbers were correct. It's just hard to muddle through their bill and figure out where we pay and where we don't. But the claims that she submitted the other day are fine. So.
Okay.
Anything else? I see none, roll call vote, please.
Teresa Bain,
Yes.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Carol Cole,
Yes.
Jeff Gray,
Yes.
Clay Hardy,
Yes.
Christine Matlock,
Yes.
Tad Mayhall,
Yes.
Tricia Miller,
Yes.
James Mitchell,
Yes.
Tim Morse,
Yes.
Austin Pritchard,
Yes.
Larry Seifert,
Yes.
Don Tate,
Yes.
Christy Wofford,
Yes.
Brent Wallace,
Yes.
Judy Wood,
Yes.
Chad Dennis.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. All right, item 19, public body comment. Yes, sir?
Yes, as a taxpaying citizen, I think we need some explanations from the treasurer. Is she not investing our money because it's against the law? Or is the only rule or law breaking her own? Or what are her reasons? I think she needs to come here, or she needs to let us know why she is investing our money properly. I've gone through it different times. There's millions and millions of dollars averaging about 1%. What is her reason for doing this? I don't understand. Is she going to be in trouble if she does it? Or she can't do it? Or she doesn't want to do it? If she was running a company and she didn't do this, she would probably be looking for a job. So we need to know, can she do it? Can't she do it? Why isn't she doing it? What are her explanations? Because I don't understand. I don't get it at all. So I don't know what, I've read her rules. I don't even think she's following her own rules. And if she is, maybe she needs to change her rules and invest our money since it's ours. It's not her money. This isn't her money to invest. This is my money and your money and everyone here and almost everyone in Shelby County. You either pay taxes by renting or you pay taxes on your property. All kinds of ways it's coming from. And I think some people have asked her for her financial statement, and I've asked her for it. Does she have one or doesn't she? I mean, does anyone ever go to ask her if she does or she doesn't? By the law, you have to have one. I think you have to produce it every 6 months. I mean, is she capable of doing the job and investing the money and doing what she should do or not? You know, I'm not saying she's doing anything wrong. I'd just like to know the reasons why she's doing what she is. Yeah. Guess that's it for me.
Thank you. Public body comment. Yes, ma'am.
Back to items number 5 and 6. When you were talking about the dive team audit, and it said review and discuss. Now, Tim brought up, about improving the bookkeeping, but I didn't hear anybody else discussing it, so I assume that means the dive team audit was good? I mean, it's sitting out here, I didn't see it, so I don't know. So I'm just curious. And then with everybody here trying to work together, I don't understand why the dive team roster had to be FOIA'd, why Austin couldn't provide it since he's head of the dive team. I mean, it seems like he would be able to provide the dive team roster, because he certainly should know who's on there. And then the other thing I have is on, when you guys were discussing number 9, you talked about getting legal counsel. What's wrong with just going to Erica or asking her to talk to you guys about what's going on? Why does it have to be legal counsel versus just, let's ask her?
You can go in our office. Tell you you're not welcome.
Public body comment? Public body comment? Yes, sir.
Just in case anybody hasn't heard, been involved with some meetings. The IHSA State Bass Fishing Tournament has been moved to Lake Shelbyville for 5 years. That's coming up June 6th and June 7th, and that's going to bring approximately 500 people to our communities to support over 3 days. They come in on typically on Wednesday before that, so they're staying in hotels and visiting the local establishments and everything, so good thing coming to our communities.
Yeah, you're right, thank you for bringing that up. I meant to have it in my notes, and I did forget about that, but thank you. It is a significant economic impact. It was a big win for this area to get that tournament for the first time. So,
Yeah, up to this point, it's been at Carlisle Lake is where it's been.
yeah, it's a big win. So, absolutely, thank you. Yes, sir.
What happened? Why did they move it from Carlisle Lake to Lake Shelbyville?
They simply went out and made a request to bring it here. So it was essentially a bidding process, and they made their case and got it moved for 5 years.
Super.
The coach of Shelbyville's bass fishing team put a lot of effort, work into that bid and getting it here.
Yeah, significant event. You've used your time. Public body comment. Public body comment. You've used your time. Public body comment. All right. Have a motion to adjourn. Motion by Ms. Bain, second, Ms. Matlock. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned, 8:03.
All I wanted to know was who was chair of the finance.